Alright, hi everyone, good afternoon. I appreciate all of you turning up for this event. When I sat there for a moment, noticing that there are a lot of new faces, people that are joining for the very first time. I remember when I started out just being a WordPress user, sitting in the back, listening to speakers, and parang naiganyo ako to utilize WordPress more because of what I've heard other people talk about it. So it's really exciting to hopefully be that positive influence to some of you na medyo baguhan sa WordPress that have no idea what it's all about, to make you stick and make you be part of this community. Alright, so this talk will be just a basic introduction about WordPress, what it is, because some people may get confused. Ano ba yung WordPress? Do you need to know programming to create your first website? Those kinds of questions. I hope that I can shed some light on those questions that you may have. Alright, so a little bit about me. I was already thoroughly introduced by Dan. Thank you very much for that. And what is WordPress really? When I asked students when I was still teaching at my alma mater, they always thought that WordPress is a software where you need to have technical knowledge in order to create a website. Ay, kailangan ng coding experience yan. Ay, kailangan ng HTML knowledge yan. To some extent, if you really want to make your website beautiful, you should know a bit of CSS, a bit of HTML. But generally, hindi naman kailangan yan eh. WordPress, it's a website building platform. It has evolved from what it used to be like a little platform where you can create a blog. People nowadays don't even know what a blog is anymore. Parang they misinterpret it or misunderstand it as vlogs. No? Even my mother was wondering, di ba vlogger ka dati? No, I used to be a blogger, not a vlogger. Alright, so it powers over 40% of the internet. Yes, almost every second website that you visit online is probably a blog that is run on WordPress. And think of it as your website's operating system. You can build so many different things on top of WordPress. Like I mentioned, a simple blog, maybe even an e-commerce website. Think Lazada or Shopee. You can create your very own Lazada or Shopee, for example. Portfolios, landing pages. If you have been working with clients, ano ba yung landing pages? That's where you try to convert and make sales for your clients and so much more. And the reason why WordPress is so popular, the only barrier for entry, really, the only friction there is the hesitation of the people themselves. Kasi, ay, yun na, kailangan technical skills. But when it comes to expenses or kailangan gumastos, you don't really need to spend because WordPress is an open source platform, which means you control what you make of it and you don't really have to pay for it and to utilize it. And very important, this is something that really bugs me, and I hope that you will take note of it too. Please spell WordPress properly, capital W, capital P. Alright, so the technology behind WordPress. Some would argue the technology behind WordPress is a bit aging, no? PHP, MySQL themes, plugins. Don't worry, those may be technical themes, but later on I'll show you the way on how to create a website without needing to know these kinds of things. But just so you have a basic idea, ano yung foundation ng WordPress? What makes a WordPress website tick? Just like in a car, it would be the wheels, the engine, the doors, the chassis. For WordPress, it's themes, plugins, PHP, and MySQL. PHP, you can think of it like running commands. MySQL is like the database where all of the information is being stored. Themes is like the chassis or the appearance of it. And plugins, yun yung mga customizations or yung mga modifications that you do on your website to make it do even greater things than what it does by default. And it's basically utilized by everybody that is online or has any business of being online, like bloggers, agencies, business, and even content creators also utilize WordPress. Bottom line, despite me mentioning PHP, MySQL, themes, and plugins, WordPress gives you control without needing to code, unless you want to know how to code. And again, the most important part or the most vital ingredient of WordPress really is the community. As you can see, as was mentioned before, all of us here are volunteers. We are not paid to do this. I nabulon ako lumipat dito for the talk. But I had a flight going there anyway, so I just rescheduled my flight a little bit. But yeah, the community of WordPress is really, really great, and it's also one of the reasons why I keep coming back to the community, even if my work does not fall within the WordPress space at the moment. What can you do with WordPress? You can build a simple blog, you can launch an online store, you will use a plugin like WooCommerce for it. What is a plugin? Later on, I'll give you a bit more insight on that. Create your own portfolio or resume, manage a business website or run a membership website. If you have worked with clients in the past, kung VA ka or freelancer ka, a lot of the clients are creating online portals where they are selling courses, so you can do it on WordPress as well. It's really flexible enough for newbies to get a hang of it and for developers to basically do whatever they want. Sky is the limit basically when it comes to WordPress. And whenever I would tell people to use WordPress, there would be always one of two kinds of people. One, they would be like, I cannot create a website with WordPress, kailangan ko ng hosting. The other people would be like, hindi ako marunong gumawa ng WordPress website because I need to pay for it. No? So there's WordPress.com, which is a premium platform where you can create your own WordPress website for free. You can just go on to WordPress.com and it will upsell you to have additional features, of course, but basically you could start having your own WordPress website for free on WordPress.com. WordPress.org is the platform or the space where you download the software and then upload it on your own server. What does that mean on your own server? So basically, you need to buy hosting, you need to buy your own domain, all of those different kinds of things. So WordPress.com simplifies it for people na beginner pa lang. Punta ka lang WordPress.com, sign up ka, you already have your website. In terms of control, you have limited features on WordPress.com. You cannot install plugins, but you have a functioning website. Monetization, a lot of people think about monetization when it comes to having a website. Parang content creators, right? People want to earn money from ads. On WordPress.com, you can run your own ads, but if you have your own WordPress website, you can do whatever you want basically on that website. Right, so if you're just starting out, if you just want to dip your toes into WordPress, you can do the WordPress.com route, or later on I'll show you the difference of what WordPress.com and WordPress.org is. Alright. Now, here are some of the terms that you should be familiar with if you start working or utilizing WordPress. Themes, as I mentioned, think of this as the chassis of your website, the body of your website, or how it is presented to the people that are visiting. Plugins add extra functionality to your website. Later on, we will have someone speak about certain plugins that can extend the editor of WordPress to new heights, like new features, adding content and customizing content more easier. You can have plugins that are SEO related. SEO meaning search engine optimization. If you type a search term in Google, yung mga website na lumalabas, the first couple of pages, most of them optimize sila using WordPress to appear in the first page. No? So we have plugins for that. Contact forms are also plugins, and if you want to back up, those are also plugins. Pages, you can think about this as more like static content, like about us, contact us page, teams page, careers page, those kinds of things. Posts, yun yung blog entries or news updates or dynamic content. What I mean by dynamic is pabago-bago. There's always something new that gets added to posts. Media, that's your images, that's your video files, and the dashboard later on. I'll show you how WordPress dashboard looks like. If you can manage a Facebook page, I don't think it would be too difficult to try working in WordPress. Alright, so a quick demo on how WordPress.com looks like. WordPress.com. Alright, so you will be greeted by this kind of a page. I'm going to get started. And then continue with email tayo dito. Alright, here you would choose your domain. Ano ba yung domain? Domain is like the URL or the name of your website. That's what people would type in order to reach your website. Alright, so I'll put in something like this. So it will give you options to pay for a domain, get a plan, and then you get a domain for free. But in our case, we just want to have a free website. If you want to have a free website, it will be like wp-metroeast2025.wordpress.com. So may dugtong siyang .wordpress.com. Let's go with that. Start with free. And this is the first page that you will see when you start creating your first WordPress.com account and WordPress.com website. Let's give it a name. As you can see on the upper left corner, it updates live as well. Alright, so we have a name now. Let's go back to the dashboard. Oops. Now, if I were to type this in Google, in the browser, when we were teaching kids at WordCamp Manila, WordCamp Asia last February, a lot of the kids had difficulty kasi, oh, my website isn't launched yet, my website isn't live, even though they created the website behind the scene already. No, ang kulang kasi, you need to launch your website here. And if you click on launch your website, choose a domain later, keep this plan. Yay. So that will be our first website. And usually the first text that you see is hello world. This is a post. And this is a page. Let's go back to the dashboard. It might look a little bit intimidating in the beginning, especially when you see a lot of things on the left side. But basically, these are the things from earlier. Posts, these are like news articles, blog articles. Pages, those are the static content, and then the media department is where you upload your pictures and videos, those kinds of things. Appearances is where your themes are, the design of your website. And right now, let's try to edit an existing post. Okay, so this is the post that we have already here. Hello world. And this is the editor. In the past, we used to call the editor, or there was this basic editor called the classic editor, and this is now Gutenberg. Gutenberg is an editor that has a little bit of a learning curve, but once you get the hang of it, it's relatively easy to utilize. No? If you have used WordPress in the past, you would know how easy it was to create widgets, remove widgets, and the navigation, for example, and how much of a learning curve it is at the beginning when you try to utilize FSE already. Alright, so how would you add content here? It's very similar to editing a Word document. You can click here, the plus sign, and you have a lot of options of different modules that you can input. Like you can add a paragraph, you can add a quote, you can add basically whatever you want. And there's also even an AI assistant mode wherein you can ask AI to help you with the content that you want, but that comes at an additional cost eventually. Alright, so in this case, I'll just add a heading, and I'll just make it heading 4. I can add a paragraph, or I can, from here, I can just type directly in. Then you will just click on save. And that way you can edit your post. But let's say you want to be fancy, you want to add something more to it, but you're not really much of a creative person. What you can do, you can go to the following website. And here you can see a lot of different patterns. You can think of this like an instruction set of modules that you can just copy and paste and add to your website. Say for example, gusto ko ng contact us. So this is a contact us form. I can click on copy pattern, and then I can just paste it in. So again, my contact form na ako. I can just edit the text and make it tailor fit to my needs. Say for example, you want to have a portfolio. Let's go to the .org repository. And then you always need to change the filter to community. Wala pa rin? Ay, okay. Thanks. And then community. Ayan. So you can see a lot of different patterns. Even if you are not much of a designer, you can copy existing patterns here, and there's no issue with copyright, there's no issue na pinaya ko yung ibang tao. No. People are uploading here freely so that you can utilize these patterns on your own website. So for example, I copy this pattern, and I just add it here. Yun. Then you can just edit the text to basically what you need. You don't really need to know how to code. You just need to know how to copy paste, select whatever you want, and put it on your website. Now, how does it look like on my website? Again, this is the page at the moment. And this is it with the contact us, with the pattern, all of those different kinds of things. Madali lang gumawa ng website with Gutenberg. A lot of people think Gutenberg complicates things, there's coding involved. No, it's just a matter of copying and pasting patterns into your website. That's for me. I'm not really a designer. There are, of course, different ways on how to create designs, but if you just want to get started, you can simply search for, in this one, WordPress patterns. You can go to wordpress.com or wordpress.org, and you can see all of the different kinds of patterns that you can copy and paste into your own website. Alright, so easy. I would hope it's easy for you guys. But next is appearance. Here there are different kinds of themes that you can utilize on your website. Many of them are free, some of them are paid, some of them are only available on a premium plan. But basically, you can select different kinds of themes that can go along with your website. This one here is on wordpress.com, so medyo may limitation on the themes that you have available. No? Kasi this is on a free plan. So say for example, I'll pick this one. And if I look up on the website now, And change na yung design niya as well. So it's really up to you on how you want to design your website. Alright, let's go back to the slides. Now, what I want to have more control over the website. I want to add plugins. I want to use all of the features that open source WordPress has to offer. For that, you will need a domain name. Let's say, for example, facebook.com or google.com. That's a domain. You need to buy your own domain. You need to have web hosting, SiteGround, Bluehost, Hostinger. There are so many hosting companies out there. You can visit WordPress.org and check out the recommended hosting companies that are on there. And most of those tools have a one-click WordPress install. So you just go through the wizard and it will install WordPress for you automatically. And then you also need to have a theme. There are different kinds of themes that you can utilize. The default WordPress theme, for example, or Astra, Cadence, a lot of different themes, and a few essential plugins that you need, like for SEO, security, or for backups. Now, I won't mention any particular plugin here because there are so many different kinds of choices, and I don't want to give you the bias towards any plugin at the moment. I want it to be something that you will debate on yourself. Because I had a debate about that for like months and months. Like, which is the better SEO plugin? Is this all-in-one SEO? Is this Yoast or whatever? Up to you. For security and backups, also different kinds of plugins. You can have a website up and running in 1 or 2 hours, or you can have it done faster by someone who knows what they're doing with WordPress. Right. Back to my website here. Since this is self-hosted, you can add plugins to your website. And again, plugins are a way to add new features to your WordPress website. So in my case, I have here plugins that extend the features of Gutenberg. Genesis subscription na meron ako. Sorry, stuck ako. I have a plugin that allows or disallows people to keep on spamming logging in. It limits the login attempts. I have plugins for caching. Similar to how caching works on your phone, no? If you exit an app and then you can return back to the app and continue from where you left off, it's similar in function to a web page wherein it keeps loading static content for your visitors. I disabled all of these different kinds of things because my security issue website ko, WPS, hide login so that people cannot see my login page, and SEO plugin as well. Now, if you want to add plugins, you can click on Add Plugin. And there are so many plugins that you can utilize and add to your website. In my case, the only reason why I have Jetpack, even though Jetpack is a very bloated plugin for the ability to log in only with WordPress.com. Because again, a lot of people keep on spamming my login pages for some reason. So there's BBPress. BBPress allows you to have a forum on your website. There are custom fields, BuddyPress, so many different plugins that you can add on your website. You just have to type in here and probably there's a solution for that. So there's a plugin called WooCommerce. Yeah, Woo. So Woo is a plugin that allows you to turn your website into its own Lazada store or Shopee store. You can add products, you can add payment methods, people can pay you with PayPal, even with Gcash or Maya, all of those kinds of things. You can sell physical products that you actually ship to your customers, or you can sell digital goods, let's say for example PDF files or online courses. So that's where you could use a plugin like WooCommerce, for example. And last but not least, I would say very important is people that get stuck or stay stuck in design mode. Like di pa ako ready, di pa ready yung website, and you keep on changing the designs, you keep on changing the theme without actually adding content. Because even way back 2008 until today, I still argue that content is king. You need to have content. Wala namang pupunta ng website mo dahil maganda tingnan. People will go to it because of the content. And done, for me, is still better than perfect. Because when will perfect ever be ready? Just launch your website. Right. Always update your core themes and plugins. Don't be like me and have pending updates from earlier. Use strong usernames and passwords. Install a basic security plugin because, yes, by default or by itself, WordPress is very secure. But the more you add additional layers, additional plugins, maraming variables to consider eh. While innately WordPress is safe, but if you add all of those different plugin combinations, there is potential that there might be a security flaw, there might be a potential of exposure of your website. Always install plugins for security, use SSL. Most websites already have that. And as I wrote here, WordPress is basically very secure if you do your part. In my case, when I did my talk in Nepal and came home from there with a broken website, I had no security on my site because I was just starting off that particular website anyways. But then, that happens. I would say even in 2025, even with Squarespace, Shopify, all of those different builders out there, wherein you can create a website, but you don't fully own the content. I think this Shopify that doesn't allow like booking sites or something along those lines. So you really want to make sure that the platform that you utilize allows you to do and own the things that you want to do it on. And for me, WordPress, the self-hosted one, still allows you to own your content, own your site, and the tech stack that you add to it. You're not locked into a proprietary system like Wix or Squarespace because it's quite difficult to really get your content out of it in a way that you can utilize elsewhere directly. And just starting from a small blog, you can scale it into a big business without switching platforms. No? Just start a small blog, and with Gutenberg and with a nice theme that supports full site editing, you can really make a nice businessy side out of it. And again, the community is massive. Support is everywhere. There are a lot of Facebook groups. So WordPress User Group Philippines has inquiries almost every day, or in the chat, for example, of people asking questions, and people are usually very nice in answering the questions. And of course, I would say WordPress is future-proof. What does that mean, being future-proof? WordPress is future-proof in a sense that if you continue to learn all of these new technologies, I'm sure you will be safe in continuing utilizing WordPress. I'd say an entry level or the barrier of entry to WordPress has become very easy. It's just the stereotype. It's just the stereotype of, no, I need to know how to program, that makes people hesitate to try using WordPress. But if you've seen earlier, you can design your pages by copying blocks, copying patterns. It shouldn't be that difficult. All right. Any questions, or have I lost you to the sea of the abyss already? Okay pa tayo dyan? Tech questions? No? Going once, going twice? Yes, Andrew?
Kevin, what's your preferred hosting?
Oh. Alright. So my websites are currently hosted at Hostinger. Yes. Yeah. Contrary to the jacket that I always have, like Kingstar, I haven't hosted on Hostinger because they have local payment options. So
Which plan?
I forgot. Alright, any other questions? Yes.
When would you better suggest, recommend to use Elementor or
Where would you recommend?
Alright, so I would say Core or Gutenberg has a steeper learning curve than Elementor. Or maybe it's also because people are already used to the way Elementor works. If you have no experience with any kind of theme builder, I would say try Gutenberg off the bat. But if you already have worked with maybe DB in the past, Elementor isn't a bad choice. Basically, it's for you to identify or to know ano ba ang kaya ni Elementor that Gutenberg or Core cannot do yet, because there are maybe some features of Elementor that Gutenberg isn't that good at yet. In my case, I'm not very familiar with Elementor. I grew up using DB. So maybe there are things that Elementor can do better than Core, but at the end of the day, for me, or for a lot of times I've worked with, speed really matters, and Elementor, especially DB in the past, used to be so bloated. But they have reduced the bloat a lot naman in terms of DB. Elementor, I'm not so sure. So yeah, what are your priorities? Is it speed? Is it the features? Those kinds of things is what I would ask in terms of which to use and when. Anything else? So mga beginner natin dyan.
I think siguro later.
Later? Sige.
Yes, pwede niya siyang connected later if you have question related to WordPress. We have extended networking.
If the question that you have in mind is, should I show up for the next event? Yes. Alright, next step for you guys. Set up a free website on WordPress.com. Explore WordPress.org using a local WordPress or a demo site. And follow tutorials from beginners. Learn that WordPress.org has a lot of content as well, or you can just do YouTube University and upskill yourself. Join the WordPress Philippines community. Join local meetups. Join the after party later. One of the reasons why I flew out here all the way to Manila is yung after party talaga. Alright. And one of the reasons yung flight ko away is tomorrow at 11 p.m. is because I cannot fly home in the morning for sure. Okay, I attended a WordCamp Cebu 2023 last year, and we had this fellow colleague of ours, Al. We went out a little bit, and then we realized, really not gonna 4 a.m., 5 a.m., and from the night out with the colleagues, we immediately went to the airport, and I did not want to make the same mistake twice. And again, when it comes to WordPress, it's okay to break your site. At least ngayon, may email ka matanggap na what went wrong, or why did you break your site? May critical email ka matanggap. Dati, we just see a white screen of death. Hindi namin alam what happened. Maybe it was the last action that I took. Maybe it just broke. But again, learning by doing is the fastest path in maybe not mastering WordPress, but getting familiar with it well enough that you won't shy away from using it more. Let me emphasize again, what makes WordPress so great, it's the community. If you have any questions, if you want to talk yourself, if you want to volunteer, if you want to organize, these people are a great example of, it just takes a little bit of courage to do the next step in this community. Parang gusto. Parang networking, no, really. It takes just a little push, maybe, in the right direction. And I hope that with this event, you guys, I'll see some of you again in future meetups. And hopefully, maybe you guys end up organizing WordPress events or WordPress meetups and WordCamps in the future, just like these two.
Alright.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.